Hello and welcome to Lofty Pursuits and Public Displays of Confection in Tallahassee, Florida. I'm Greg, and I was at the supermarket recently and I noticed something missing in the Valentine's Day candy selection. Sweethearts, those conversation candies. Sweethearts are made by NECCO, and NECCO went bankrupt in 2018, so there are none on the shelves this year. For over 100 years, conversation candy has been made, and Sweethearts is just one of them. And today we're going to make our own conversation candy, and we have it on our website in the Lofty Pursuits Valentine's Day assortment. We've poured the hot sugar on the table, and now when it's starting to cool, we add the food coloring. We want to add the food coloring before the sugar cools so that it's hot enough to boil out all the water. We're using pink for the outside stripes and black for the letters within. The letters will spell out "Be Mine." We added the flavor before we poured the sugar. The flavor in this batch is going to be strawberries and cream. Once it's cooled a bit, we divide the sugar into its different colors, creating a palette for us to build our work with. In this case, it's going to be a pink outline candy with the words "Be Mine" in the middle. The maker of Sweethearts, NECCO. NECCO stands for the New England Confectionery Company, and it opened in 1847, and it was notable for making one of the first automated production machines for making candy in discs or lozenges or drops. And their patent from 1847 stood for a long time and did them well. But they were also known for other candies, which unfortunately with the bankruptcy have gone out of production, which includes Sky Bars, Mary Janes, and yes, Squirrel Nut Zippers. Of course, these early candies, the NECCO wafers that were made in 1847, weren't hearts, they were discs, and they still made those until last year, and they'll be making them again at the end of this year again. It's their most popular candy, the NECCO wafer, and it became really popular during the Civil War, the American Civil War. In 1861, the U.S. military started sticking it in ration packs because it could take low temperature, high temperature, and it survived beautifully. And when 1865 rolled around and the war ended, sales started diminishing. So to boost sales, the brother of the founder, he decided to start stamping things on it and developed a machine so he could put writing on these discs, and it was popular. In 1901, they started making printed hearts, and the rest is history. And as time continued, the U.S. military continued to be a great boon. You see, every time there was a war, they needed candy, and through World War I, sugar rations may have hit other candy companies, but NECCO Wafer was commissioned to use as much sugar as they want to make the candy for the boys at the front. And this, of course, meant people were developing a taste for their candy. I suspect World War II wasn't as good for them as the ration packs included chocolate, not NECCO wafers. Putting writing on candy was not new, and the NECCO wafers only had half the conversation. They said things like, "I love you" and "Be mine." But in the 90s, they decided they needed to update the text with more modern sayings like LOL and "crazy for you" and "wicked cool." Not quite sure how that expresses love, but they were on the candy. The choice of some of these confused me, and one even looked like a misprinted QR code. But now it's time to make our own conversation candy, and this will say "Be Mine" in it, and we're going to start by making the letter N. The first printed NECCO wafers, and this was on the discs, not the heart, they had more room and they put more text on it. They put sayings like "married in white, you've chosen right." And these early candies were given out at weddings. They weren't so much geared to Valentine's Day. And this makes sense because when they were making it in the late 1860s, Valentine's Day wasn't nearly as popular as it is today. You see, Valentine's Day became popular in the early 20th century, especially with school kids. And school kids are the main consumers of these Valentine Day hearts by NECCO. And that may be why they introduced the hearts only in the first decade of the 20th century. They'd been making the wafers for nearly 40 years already. Conversation candies did not start as Valentine's Day candies, so they were in production even before Valentine's Day was as popular as it is now. They were used for social mixers. These candies typically had two parts, a question piece and a matching answer piece. People would get some of each and would put the questions on one plate, the answers on another. The guys that came to the party, assumingly single guys, would take the questions, and the ladies would take the answers. And you would have to go around the party and find the person that had the candy that matched yours. Fortunately, I have an example of this. I was able to track down one conversation roller. Now, these things normally come in pairs, but I got the one with the text on it. Because I don't have a pair, I can't make these candies in a production fashion, but I can make some samples by rolling it like a rolling pin. And I did. I'm sorry that these are unlikely ever to be for sale, but if you want to, you can go over to our website, which is www.pd.net, and pick up some of these Valentine conversation candies that we're making in this video and the other 6 designs for yourself. They're all different flavors and they're delicious. If you have a moment, if you could go down to the description of this video, we have a link down there going to the Tally Awards. We're up for the dessert category, and these candies are definitely dessert. If you've ever gotten any, please go to the website and vote for us. It'll mean a lot to us. If you go back even further, you can find other examples of conversation candies. But these older ones didn't have words printed on the candy. Instead, they had little slips of paper with the message written on them. You see, the candy was folded when hot around the piece of paper, and the description was like little seashells. The only thing I can envision is these were sort of fortune cookies made out of candy. There's another tradition that I have to wonder if it was related, writing messages on cookies with icing for party favors. Now, this was in Europe, and I can't find a direct connection between this and the candies, but it leads me to wonder, is this the true origin of conversation candies? Before it, were there conversation cookies? And there is precedence for candy being inspired by other things. Ribbon candy was inspired by Christmas decorations made out of scraps of ribbon. Candy canes may have had one of their origins based off a German cookie that was a cane shape that was hung on trees. So why not have conversation candy coming from cookies in Europe? Now that the letters are built, all that's left is for Jessica to make the pink and white striped wrap for the candy, and for us to assemble it and put it on the batch roller where we'll pull it into rods. We're putting 6 stripes on this candy today, and to do this, Jessica made 2 stripes and then multiplied it into 3, so she ended up with 6 stripes when we wrap the candy. To prevent the candy from shattering under its own weight, Jessica cuts them in half with this late 1800s candy cutter. This is a cane cutter, and this is exactly what it was designed to do.
You have your own cup? That's good enough. You can just go to YouTube first. The road is a better video rather than go to Creek and Fall.
But wait, the candy's not done yet. You see, this is one of 7 flavors and designs. We've got to blend it together. And the blending of this candy can be a lot of fun. And here's our final mix for 2019 while supplies last. Thank you for watching this video, we do appreciate it. If you'd like to try this candy in person, you can get it at www.pd.net. Or you can visit our store in Tallahassee, Florida. We're located right off I-10 and we're open from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. almost every day. We make candy a whole lot, but not every day, and if you're lucky, you can see us make candy if you visit. You can also follow us on social media, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Please check us out, and you can subscribe to our email list at www.pd.net. And if you have the time, please go down to the description of this video and go to the website that we're linking. We're up for an award for Best Dessert Place in Tallahassee, and candy is definitely a dessert. If you've ever ordered candy off us, we'd love for you to vote for us there. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.